There is a stretch of years inside retirement where the IRS basically lets you decide your own tax bill. Most people don't realize they are inside it until it's already gone. If you are a pre-retiree in your 60s, that stretch is yours right now. The window opens the day you stop working. It closes on your 73rd birthday. I keep seeing the same pattern: smart people, big balances, zero idea the window even exists. They feel fine, they look at their statement, they see $1.2 million and they think the work is done. It is not done. Picture a Tuesday in January. You just turned 73. You open your account. The balance reads $1 million. The IRS does not see $1 million in your name. The IRS sees a partner, and the partner just woke up. Under current law, your first required minimum distribution at 73 is your prior year balance divided by 26.5. On $1 million, that is roughly $37,736. You must pull it. It's taxed as ordinary income. Whether you need a dime of it or not, the divisor shrinks every year after that. The balance hopefully grows, so the forced number gets bigger, not smaller. But that is just the first floor. Stack that distribution on top of your Social Security. The moment your provisional income as a married couple crosses $44,000, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits become taxable. Money you thought was already paid for. Now it's income. Then the Medicare clock starts. Once your modified adjusted gross income as a married couple crosses $218,000 in 2026, you start paying IRMAA. That's an extra premium charge on Medicare Part B and Part D. So the same RMD that pushed your Social Security into the taxable column is now silently raising the price of your healthcare 2 years from now. Yes, on a 2-year lag, which is its own little gut punch. 3 taxes, 1 trigger, all at once. And the trigger is age 73. If this stack just clicked into place for you in a way it didn't before, hit that like. It tells me to keep explaining it like a person, not like a tax form. So here's the actual point of this video. Between the day you stop working and the year you turn 73, your taxable income usually drops. Sometimes a lot. You are not pulling a salary. You may not have started Social Security. RMDs have not begun. The IRS for those few years is barely paying attention to you. That gap is your lever. That is the window. 5 years, sometimes 10, where you choose the tax rate. Not them, you. The move is called a partial Roth conversion. You take a chunk of your traditional IRA. You move it to a Roth. You pay ordinary income tax on the converted amount in that year. The reason this works is brutally simple. You are paying tax now at a rate you control in a year where you have room. Instead of letting the IRS force the whole thing out of you starting at 73, when your bracket is bigger and your Social Security is exposed, that is the whole strategy. Use the gap years to drain pressure out of the traditional IRA before the IRS turns the faucet on for you. And here's the thing nobody is talking about yet. Last summer, on July 4th, 2025, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was signed into law. It did 2 things that changed this entire conversation. First, it made the current tax brackets permanent. The 10, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, and 37% rates are locked in. The tax rates are going up at the end of 2025. Panic? Done. Over. The rates are set. Which means your conversion window is more valuable than ever. The rate you pay today is the rate. But the second thing this law did is the part most advisors haven't caught up to yet. It created a temporary bonus deduction for seniors. For tax years 2025 through 2028, eligible filers age 65 and older can claim an extra $6,000 per person. That is $12,000 for a married couple where both spouses are 65 or older. Itemizers and standard deduction takers both qualify. It phases out at $150,000 of magi for married filing jointly. $12,000 of extra deduction, on top of the $32,200 standard deduction for a married couple in 2026. That stacks. And it disappears after 2028 unless Congress extends it, which is not something I'd build a plan around. So picture a couple, both 66, both retired. They have $80,000 of taxable income before any conversion. The top of the 24% bracket for married filing jointly in 2026 is $403,550. That is enormous headroom. They could theoretically convert hundreds of thousands of dollars before they would touch the 32% bracket. They won't, and I'll get to why, but the room is there. And the $12,000 bonus deduction, available right now through 2028, is sitting there to absorb part of that conversion at 0 federal tax. A conversion that costs almost nothing in 2027 costs real money in 2029 when that deduction goes away. If this is the part where the picture clicked into place, the brackets, the deduction, the gap years all lining up, subscribe so you can get more of these breakdowns. Now here's the part that almost no retirement video talks about. It is the reason I tell married couples to plan together, not separately. Your spouse dies. The income barely changes. Your RMDs don't shrink. Your Social Security barely shrinks. But the day after you file your final joint return, you are a single filer. And in 2026, the top of the 22% bracket for a married couple is $211,400. For a single filer, it is $105,700, cut almost exactly in half. Same income, same forced RMDs, half the bracket. The IRS does not care that your spouse just died. This is the widow's tax compression. It is one of the most underplanned risks in retirement. A Roth conversion strategy executed while both of you are alive, both healthy, both still able to claim that $12,000 bonus deduction is one of the only tools that diffuses it. It also diffuses one more thing for the next generation. Under the Secure Act of 2020, a non-spouse beneficiary who inherits your traditional IRA has to empty the account within 10 years. Your kids, who are usually in their 50s when this happens, are in their peak earning years. Your $1.2 million traditional IRA gets compressed into 10 years of taxable distributions, on top of their salaries, at their highest lifetime tax rates. If you instead spent your 60s slowly converting that balance to a Roth, your heirs inherit a Roth with the same 10-year drawdown rule, but no tax bill. Same money, different tax outcome, generational difference. If you have kids who will inherit this account, drop in the comments below whether your IRA is mostly traditional, mostly Roth, or split. Okay, 3 guardrails. Because you might be thinking the obvious move is to just convert everything and be done with it. Almost nobody should do that. First guardrail. Each conversion has its own 5-year clock. If you are under 59 and a half, the converted principal cannot be touched for 5 tax years from January 1st of the conversion year, or you eat a 10% penalty. For most people in their 60s, this isn't a practical issue, but you need to know the clock exists before you start. Second guardrail, the conversion year itself can spike your IRMAA. IRMAA is calculated on a 2-year lookback, so a big conversion in 2026 raises your Medicare premium in 2028, even if your income normalizes by then. The trick is to size each conversion to land below the IRMAA threshold. For married couples in 2026, staying under $274,000 of MAGI keeps you in the lowest IRMAA tier. That is only about $81.20 extra per person per month. Cross into the next tier and that number jumps fast. You aren't trying to convert the maximum. You are trying to convert the maximum without crossing a cliff. Third guardrail. The pre-RMD decade is not the single most valuable window for everyone. If your balance is modest, if you plan to give significantly to charity, or if you expect a big income drop later, your math may look different. For the charitably inclined, qualified charitable distributions are a parallel tool. At age 70 and a half or older, you can direct up to $111,000 in 2026 straight from your IRA to a qualified charity. It counts toward your RMD but never appears as taxable income. QCDs aren't a fit for everyone. They don't go to donor-advised funds, and you have to be over 70 and a half. But for the right person, they can do work that conversions can't. So the picture is this. If you are in your 60s, between retirement and 73, you are inside the highest leveraged tax window of your financial life. The brackets are locked at historically low rates. There is a $12,000 bonus deduction available right now that disappears after 2028. The cost of doing nothing is RMDs you can't control, Social Security taxation you didn't plan for, Medicare surcharges that show up 2 years late, and a spouse or set of heirs who inherit a tax bill instead of an asset. The move is partial, annual, sized to the bracket and the IRMAA cliff, funded with cash from outside the IRA when possible, started before the window closes on your 73rd birthday. This is general education, not personalized advice. Before you act on any of this, talk to a CPA or fee-only financial planner who can model your specific brackets, your specific Social Security timing, and your specific IRMAA exposure. In the next video on the screen, I am going to show you why age 63 is treated completely differently from every other age in retirement. 2 neighbors with identical incomes can end up paying wildly different amounts on Medicare because of one decision they made at 63. I will see you there.